We're almost at the end of this routing module. A lot of content was covered here. Now, there's one important thing you have to know regarding routing when using the React router when it comes to deploying your app to a real server, because you won't notice it here on the development server because it's already configured correctly. You have to remember how handling requests actually works in the web. We have the user who sends a request to the server. And we have our React app, which is then loaded on the index.html page. The thing is, before we load the index.html page, the server needs to find out which page the user actually wanted to visit. That, of course, is the case because the server always handles requests first. This is how the internet works. The problem is, it's the React app which knows the routes. So if we visit /posts, there is no /posts route on our server. That is defined in the JavaScript code, which is loaded on the index.html page, which we never get because we get a 404 error on the server because we tried to visit a route which is unknown to the server. And clearly this is not what you saw during development because, as I said, the development server is already configured correctly. We have to configure the server in a way that it always forwards requests, no matter if it understands them or not, so also 404 error requests, to the client, so that it always returns the index.html page, also for unknown requests. Because this then allows React to take over and parse the request against the routes it knows. So we should always load index.html. And if then there is a request we don't know, well, you learned how to handle 404 errors with the React router. Now, as I said, the development server we used here already is configured to always load the index.html file. It is something you also have to do when hosting the app on your own server though. Always return index.html even and especially in 404 error cases. There's one other thing you have to be aware of when hosting your app on your server. If you're hosting it on, let's say, example.com/nothing, so if that is the page with which we're landing on the root page of your React app, you don't need to set up anything special. But if you're serving your app from, let's say, example.com/myapp, so anything beneath that folder should be your React app, you need to tell React about this, the React router to be precise. You need to set the base path for the React router. And I want to quickly show you how to do that. In your application, in the place where you use browser router, so in our case in the app.js file here, browser router, you can also configure that. And you rarely need to do that. But there is a base name prop you can set. And by default, that's set to /. So this is the default which you don't need to set. If you're serving your app from my app, you should set this to /myapp. Then all your requests are routed against my app / and then the link you were pointing to. Otherwise, if you had a link like here, if you push the page change upon clicking a post, here we navigate to /posts, and it would always add this to your root domain. Now, if your React app is served from /myapp, it will only work correctly and add it to the end of your domain /myapp if base name is set up. So whenever you're serving your app from a subdirectory, make sure to set base name. So here I will remove base name, or I'll duplicate it and comment it out to leave it here for reference and remove it in the browser route we're actually using. But this is something you have to know.